Hello everyone, I am Dr. Suman Pawar, working as an assistant professor in Department of Zoology at Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya, Karjat, District Ahmednagar. Friends, this video is for educational purpose only. No copyright infringement, and this copyright belongs to its rightful owner. Credit goes to the respective image and content providers. Today, we are dealing with the urinogenital system in female calotes versicolor. Now, what is the urinogenital system? The urinogenital system is formed by two different systems, that is, the excitatory system, which is for a removal of the nitrogenous wastes, and the genital system for reproduction purpose. Thus, the urinogenital system is formed by the association of these two systems, namely excitatory system and the reproductive system. In all vertebrates, both these systems are located very close to each other in the posterior region of the abdomen of an organism. And the openings of these systems, that is, the excitatory opening and the genital openings, they are situated in close association in the cloacal chamber. The cloaca, that is, the common chamber in which all these exit openings they opens. It is important to note that the ureters have no connection with the female genital ducts, and hence in case of vertebrate females, the urinary and the genital systems, they remains completely separate from each other. It is the system of excretion as well as the reproduction in case of female calotes versicolor. Now let us see first the excitatory organs. See, these are the paired kidneys. Each kidney is differentiated into two lobes. Here is the anterior lobe and this is the posterior lobe. The anterior lobes of both the kidneys, they are rather tapering and narrower, whereas the posterior lobes, they are quite swollen. And in the posterior region, both these posterior lobes, they fuse together and they appears like the alphabet V. See here, there is a formation of a V-shaped alphabet or V alphabet due to slight fusion of the posterior regions of both the kidneys. Each kidney gives off a duct called ureter, and both the ureters, they independently opens into the cloacal chamber through their excitatory openings. Beside these, there is a presence of a sac-like structure, that is urinary bladder, which independently opens into the cloacal chamber. The kidney serves for extraction of nitrogenous waste from the blood and its conversion into its eliminating form. The reproductive structures. Now, the lobulated ovary, which is formed of several follicles joined together, and from the inner side, the fine ligaments, they forms a double fold with the help of which each ovary remains attached with the dorsal body wall, and this fold is nothing but the mesovarium. Now, from the outer side of the ovary, there is a large funnel-shaped structure which is called as the oviducal funnel, which are mainly for trapping the mature ova, which after maturation get shed off in the abdominal cavity. And from the lower side of each oviducal funnel, there runs the convoluted long oviduct. runs posteriorly and it opens independently into the into the cloacal chamber. Thus, the reproductive structures in case of female calotes are the paired ovaries, a pair of oviducal funnels, and a pair of oviducts. And finally, the cloacal aperture. Now, the excitatory system is formed of several elements like a pair of kidney, a pair of ureter, and a single urinary bladder. The metaniphorid kidneys, which are present in higher vertebrates, are elongated, flattened, dark red in color, and these structures consist of anterior and posterior lobes. And the kidneys are situated medially in the pelvic region of the abdominal cavity of the female calotes. Anterior lobe of each kidney is free and slightly apart, whereas the posterior lobes of both the kidneys they lie close together and fused in the middle line. Thus, they appears like the alphabet V. Both the kidneys are covered ventrally and laterally by the thin peritoneal membrane. Hence, the kidneys are considered as ventroperitoneal or extraperitoneal in position in case of calotes versicolor. Histologically, each kidney is made up of a central medulla and a peripheral cortex region. The cortex contains numerous renal or the Malpighian corpuscles, the collecting ducts, and the blood capillaries supplying blood to the kidneys. The renal tubules open in the collecting tubule which communicates with the ureter to discharge their contents, means whatever the excitatory product is there, it is discharged into the ureter. The ureters. From each kidney, a delicate tube originates on the ventral surface of the kidney, and in case of female lizard, the ureters open directly into the cloaca through its dorsal wall. The urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is a small, thin-walled sac situated ventrally in the pelvic region, and it is covered by peritoneal membrane which binds the urinary bladder dorsally with the rectal tube. The urinary bladder opens into the cloaca through separate opening. The process of excretion. The kidneys perform the function of separation of nitrogenous waste from the blood and mainly in the form of uric acid. Thus, the calotes is uricotelic. The uric acid leaves the kidney along with a small amount of water, thus forms a yellowish urine. But the urine, when carried by the ureters into the urodeum of the cloacal chamber, where the bladder water almost get completely absorbed from the urine, so that nearly the solid urine consisting mainly the uric acid as the eliminating product is finally discharged into the cloaca. The second half of the system, that is a reproductive system, which is composed of pair of ovaries, pair of oviducts and cloaca. The ovaries. The ovaries in calotes female are whitish clusters of oval or rounded bodies having varying size of the developing ovas and situated dorsally in the abdominal cavity and ahead of the kidneys. Each ovary is attached to the dorsal body wall by a double fold of peritoneum called the mesovarium. Thus, the mesovarium keeps the ovaries in their proper position. In each cluster of ovary, the oocyte develops or they shows their developing stages. The nerve cells or the tropocytes surround each oocyte. These cells, that is the tropocytes, secrete and deposit the yolk material in the developing oocyte. Thus, the mature ovum loaded with the yolk measures about 6 to 7 mm in diameter, and the peritoneum of the ovary get ruptured and the well-developed ovum get released in the body cavity, from where it is caught by the oviducal funnel of the oviduct. The oviducts. The oviduct, a pair of an elongated tubular convoluted tubules situated towards the lateral sides of the ovaries. Each oviduct is attached with the body wall by a special fold of peritoneum called the broad ligament. The anterior end of each oviduct is provided with a wide open ciliated oviducal funnel situated near the corresponding ovary and just below the lungs. The oviducts are not the coiled, but they are folded and they runs posteriorly to open independently into the cloaca. The diameter of the oviduct shows gradual increase towards the posterior side. Hence, it forms the uterus, which is nothing but the swollen posterior region of each oviduct. The uterus is the place where the eggs are stored temporarily prior to their laying. The oviducts serve as a conducting passage for the mature ova, which are trapped from the body cavity and carried to the cloacal chamber. Thus, the oviducts also serve as a site for fertilization of the mature ova. The anterior part of the oviducts secrete albuminous fluid which is deposited around the fertilized ova, while the posterior part of the oviducts secretes the calcareous shell material for protection of the fertilized ova. In calotes versicolor female, the cloaca is the spacious terminal chamber situated at posterior end of the trunk. And in male as well as in female, this cloacal chamber receives the openings of three systems, that is the digestive system, the excitatory system and the reproductive system. The anterior region of the cloacal chamber is called coprodium, where the rectum opens, while its middle region is called uridium, which shows pair of excitatory openings and a pair of genital openings in female calotes. The single opening of the urinary bladder is present on the floor opposite to the urodium, while the proctodium is the posterior region of the cloaca. Let us see the breeding habits in calotes. In calotes, the breeding season is from May to September, and during their breeding season, the male assumes a brilliant scarlet color which is conspicuous on the ventral side of the head and the neck, while the female lizard shows two light yellow stripes which develops dorsolaterally on its trunk region. During the breeding season, the male calotes is attracted by the female, which initiates the copulatory activity in the animals. The female calotes lays eggs in the soil at a depth about 15 to 17 cm deep. The egg laying in calotes takes place from June to August. The calotes female being oviparous, it lays about 10 to 12 eggs, and the eggs undergoes incubation within the period of about 6 weeks, and the young calotes hatch from the eggs showing direct development, as the young ones they directly show similarities with the morphological features of their parents, and the young ones become mature within 10 to 12 months. Thus, in this video, we have discussed about the excitatory system and the female reproductive system in calotes versicolor. Friends, in case you have any doubt about the content of this video or you have any question about the topic covered, please email me on the given address. Thank you. Thank you for your patient listening. Let me once announce this video is for educational purpose only. No copyright infringement. This copyright belongs to its rightful owner and credit goes to the respective image and content providers. For more videos, kindly visit our YouTube channel Rayat Knowledge Bank.